Yeah, it was a rough game. The Seahawks had a rough game, and it kind of begs the question, who's getting the axe? And there are a few different things out there. There's a few different theories on what's going on with the Seattle Seahawks. And I think that this is a time where fans panic, right? You've lost two in a row, 3 out of 4. You have lost 2 straight divisional games, which is not good, and you are not sitting with a good record in the division right now. I think you beat the Cardinals, so you are 1-3 against the division. You still have a game against the 49ers and Cardinals left, but that isn't looking great. And overall, things just aren't looking wonderful. But I'm going to talk to you about areas in which you can be excited going forward this year, and also areas of like, yeah, it's time to let someone go. I think it's really that simple. So first, let's start with the state of the fan. Then we'll go to the state of the team. And then we'll go to what is the solution and what does the rest of this look like. So for the fan, this is kind of funny. How fans are feeling after the Thanksgiving loss to the 49ers. I always think it's funny to see Thanksgiving, but then you have Christmas stuff everywhere on here, which is kind of funny. So last week or 3 weeks ago, there was 39% of the fans were nervous. Or I'm sorry, 39% nervous, 23% panic, 20% unsure, and 18% confident they'll be fine on where this team stood after the game against the Ravens. Now, remember, while you just got run over by the Ravens, at the exact same time, you know for a fact that your team was in a better spot than they are now. At that time against the Ravens, you had 2 losses. Now you're sitting at 6-5. And the only game you won was against the Commanders. Your offense did well in that game, but Commanders just fired their D coordinator. So before I jump into this even further, just remember this channel, if you're new to it, we are a team that loves the underdog. We're Lions fans, but we love the NFL. So we started this for teams that don't get the recognition on the national media that maybe they should. Seahawks falling into that. And so when you look at this, it goes a little bit more. The panic shot up from 23% to 52% at the time of publishing this story Friday morning. So what that tells me is pretty obvious. Based on that survey, over half of the fans, half of the Seahawk Nation is panicked right now. That is the most or the least confident of this survey by Nico. All right. That isn't even talking about nervous or unsure or confident they'll be fine. It was straight panic. So my assumption is that 80 to 90% of this fan base is at least nervous to panicked. Unsure is a totally different one. This is interesting to me. So why is this? Well, let's start by knowing who the Seattle Seahawks are. They are a team that is in the top 10 now. After the game against the Niners, the defense moved it back to 12th, but they were in the top 10 in both offense, defense, and number 1 on special teams for PFF grading. However, they are now being outscored by 20 points because they have some lopsided losses. They don't have a lot of lopsided big victories, but they absolutely have some lopsided losses. So now you're starting to get other crazy things, and I'll share this screen with you too. And these are the guys from over at Field Goals. All right. And they're saying, fire our OC, please. An offense so offensive that the Seahawks Twitter is offended. And can you blame us? All right. So, okay. Like, they used the only one word that they could think of to suffice for this was heckhole. All right. So, like, it's one of those things where people aren't feeling good. But is Shane Waldron, the OC, to blame for this? Leave a comment right now. Let me know. Do you think this is a Shane Waldron problem? Do you think that this is a head coach Pete Carroll problem? Do you think this is a defensive coordinator problem? Do you think that this is a Geno problem? Like, what is the issue right now with the Seattle Seahawks? Because they're just not playing that great. Now, I've been one to go on record, and I think there are good coaches out there that people don't have enough respect for. I think there's guys that are out there that are middle of the road to really good coaches, middle of the road to good coaches that should be head coaches in this league, but some other people just don't really give them the flowers that they deserve. And I think one of those guys is Pete Carroll. I think a lot of people kind of downgrade him because every once in a while things can get bland. They can get boring. They can seem to not produce at the level that they should. Another one of those guys is Mike McCarthy. I have this argument all the time with friends. Like, Mark McCarthy's a bad coach. No, he's not. He's not a bad coach. All he's done is won because he has great talent. Okay. All right. Pete Carroll, I kind of is in the same boat. As McCarthy is with the Cowboys. A lot of talent, not necessarily always the best QB. Russ is good, but I'm not going to sit here and say Russ is the quarterback that you can plop on any team and that team immediately becomes a Super Bowl contender. He's not up there with those guys. He was never up there with Aaron Rodgers. He was not up there with Patty Mahomes. Okay. Like those just elite tier quarterbacks. Now, was he for a long time consistently around a top 5 quarterback? Yeah. Yeah, he was. And the team was successful with him. Then they let him go. They get Geno Smith. And by let him go, I mean trade him. They get Geno Smith, and they're still good. I don't know if this is necessarily a Shane Waldron problem, but here's what I do know. When you have the talent that they have at running back, when you have the talent that they have at wide receiver, it should be better. It should be better. DK Metcalf should be better. Tyler Lockett's going to continue to lock it. Like he's good. He's phenomenal. It's fun to watch him. And Jackson Smith and Jigba should be getting more run. He should be getting more targets. If they have the right quarterback in this system, this should be a system that can just throw the ball over the field. And this should be a system that can run the ball over the field. But they're not doing either of them right now. This Seattle Seahawks offense outside of the Commanders game, I just want to tell you like where they're at. All right. Since the Bengals, when they lost to the Bengals, they put up 13, 20, 24, 3, 16, 13. That's not exactly an explosive offense. The defense, which most people want to be quick to blame, okay, since the Giants game have given up 3, 17, 10, 20, 37, 26, 17, 31. Like that's a defense that's doing well enough if the offense can keep up. So here comes the next one. Is this a Shane Waldron problem or is this or is this a Geno Smith problem? I think that has to be a legitimate question as well. Is it a Geno Smith problem? Maybe. But here's the thing about Geno Smith. He is essentially the same quarterback he was last year statistically. Like, and player grade wise. I think it would be kind of interesting to note the overall grade on PFF was 76 this year. Last year, 79.8. Like, it's not that much worse. The biggest difference is that he was a 3-to-1 interception ratio, and now he's a 1.5-to-1 interception ratio. Last year, he was 8th in attempts and tied for 7th in total yards. This year, he's 9th in attempts and 11th in total yards. Like, it's not like things have gone that much crazier. It's simply they're not converting. And, you have Pete Carroll out there talking about, oh, well, we missed a couple long field goals and stuff like that. That's not going to cut it. Like, that's not good enough in these games, whether it's the Rams, Niners, it doesn't matter. Like, the team looks thoroughly outclassed. And I know there's a big defender that's missing. So I get that. So let me know what you think. Is somebody getting fired for the Seattle Seahawks? Is it Shane Waldron? Is there a change anywhere else? Let me know. And thanks for watching. Leave a comment, subscribe if you want more Seahawk content.